Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7, live from our studios here at Esawe Kanda, Accra. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Coming up this afternoon, there are concerns the Supreme Court's interpretation of Article 97(1)(g) and (h) will have little to no effect in resolving the current impasse in Parliament. We'll tell you why. Also, with 23 days more to December 7 elections, the Electoral Commission is this afternoon expected to dispatch ballot papers to 4 more regions ahead of the crucial polls. We have the update, and also Black Stars of Ghana gear up to face Angola in a game that could possibly seal the fate of Ghana's quest to qualify for 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Details of this and more shortly. Many thanks for joining us. Let's get the details. The Electoral Commission this afternoon is transporting ballot papers for the upcoming December 7 general elections. The EC began the exercise on Thursday with a dispatch of ballot for the Greater Accra region. This afternoon, the exercise is continuing with the electoral body expected to dispatch ballot for 4 more regions, namely Savannah, Central, Upper West and Western regions. My colleague Noble Crosby Anna joins us live. Crosby, where are you and what can you report regarding the ballot distribution?
Right, great. So if you can hear me, right now I'm at Back Press Limited, one of the media or the printing houses mandated for the printing of the ballot papers for the 2024 elections. What is about to happen here is this. The parliamentary ballot papers are about to be packed or shipped from the offices here at Back Press and loaded into a vehicle that would be protected by the police and other security agencies. Back Press is printing for, amongst others, the Savannah region, the Central region. It is also printing for some other regions, the OT region as well as the Ashanti region. Today, they're transporting ballot papers from Back Press Limited through to Central region and the Savannah region as stipulated by the Electoral Commission. Party agents, supervisors have all gathered here. They are guarding the process with very eagle eyes. They do not want anything to go past them. Party agents from the 2 main parties, the MPP and the NDC, are both here. We also see security agencies. It's a packed place at Back Press Limited, and very soon the parking will begin where the ballot papers will be loaded onto this truck and will be guarded by the police and other security agencies through to the Central and the Savannah regions. Grace.
So, Crosby, yesterday we saw the distribution starting from the Accra Regional Police Command. Why is this one starting at Back Press today? Do we know why?
Well, what happens is that yesterday, what came to the Accra Regional Police Command, the ballot papers came from InnoLink, and InnoLink is one of the printing houses as well. So they came from InnoLink and they were kept at the Greater Accra Regional Police Command for subsequent distribution. That is after the presidential ballots have also been added. It will be distributed to the various constituencies before Election Day, and then close to Election Day, they will be moved to get closer to the voting centers on Election Day. So what is happening here is that after printing, it is being moved right now to the Central region, where it will be kept at the Central Regional Police Command. It is also being moved to the Savannah region, of course, where it will also be kept at the police command there. And then when they also receive the presidential ballots, it will then be subsequently moved from the regional police command to the various constituencies. Then they can distribute it when it is getting close to Election Day for a smooth electoral process, Grace.
And between yesterday and today, what has been the impression of the party agents there? What do they tell you? What do you glean from their demeanor and all?
Well, the Electoral Commission, they began the distribution yesterday, and from the political parties, the 2 main ones, the MPP and the NDC, and engagements with them, it was a smooth process. They were pleased with everything that has happened, the levels of security, the levels of transparency. We're talking about backs with fields and serial numbers and all of that. They were very confident in the process. They did not see anything untoward happening. So hopefully it continues from here and into the other printing houses and the other regions as well.
All right, Crosby, thank you for bringing us those updates. We'll definitely come back to you for more. My colleague, Noble Crosby, and updating us on day 2 of the EC distribution of ballot papers from the Greater Accra region to the other regions. Let's move away from the EC and talk about something very disturbing, because this afternoon, the number of adults living with diabetes worldwide has surpassed 800 million, more than quadrupling since 1990, according to new data released by the World Health Organization. The analysis, according to the WHO, highlights the scale of diabetes epidemic and an urgent need for stronger global action to address both the rise in diabetes rates and widening treatment gaps, particularly in low and middle income countries. Here in Ghana, the country faces a significant burden of diabetes, with a prevalence rate estimated to be between 2.80% and 3.95% at the national level. The Western region has the highest prevalence at 39.80%, followed by Ashanti at 25.20% and Central at 24.60%. Diabetes is generally higher in women than in men, with case counts higher in urban areas than in rural areas. Let's speak with the national coordinator of the Non-Communicable Diseases Alliance, Labram Musa, on this. Mr. Musa, thank you for talking to us. What is the picture when it comes to diabetes in Ghana from your findings and cooperation with the WHO? Hi, Labram. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. So paint for us a picture of how dire the situation is in Ghana when it comes to diabetes.
Right. If you can hear me, I say good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
Great. So, every 14th, November, as you rightly said, it's a day set aside to commemorate World Diabetes Day. And in Ghana, we thought that there's a need for us to also do some reflections about the dire, consequences of diabetes and how it is eating into the fabric of society. The statistics is not looking very good. What we are seeing is that there's a lot of people getting non-communicable diseases, particularly hypertension and diabetes. But this November we are focusing on diabetes, which is one of the major risk factors. In fact, it's a leading factor to many communicable, non-communicable diseases, such as heart diseases, heart failures, renal problems, and a couple of, chronic, diseases. Right. So, and then if you look at the prevalence, like I said, it's not looking good. We are having increase in diabetes, case of diabetes, in almost all facilities, in the country, and this is not good for the country. So there's a need for government to put in measures to ensure that we are able to reduce as much as we can the extent to which people are getting these diseases.
Talking about measures, let's begin from the personal side. What can a person do?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it goes on and off.
Yeah, so talking about measures, what can a person do to reduce their risk of getting the disease? Then we take it to the national level.
Well, your line is bad. I still cannot hear you.
What measures do you think we can put in place to reduce the numbers as they keep increasing?
So if I hear you, you are talking about measures, right?
Yes.
Right. So in terms of measures, in fact, a lot of them, have already been encapsulated within the national NCD policy. But of course, quickly, just to mention that, diabetes is, we know many people know the reason why diabetes, come. It's as a result of, unhealthy lifestyle. So there's a need for us to look at what we eat, what we consume, and the fact that one of the major factors has to do with sugar-sweetened beverages. So, I mean, above a certain age, people must be very cautious of what they eat. Let me say that some years ago, people get diabetes at a very, very late, stage of their life. But now we are getting people, even at the age of from 15 years going, getting, type 2 diabetes, which is so much of a trouble. And it's because of our excessive, sugar intake. You find people, taking a lot of sugar nowadays, and a lot of registered or non-registered sugar-sweetened beverages. I'm talking about sugar drinks, fizzy drinks. All over the place in the market, on the street. They are on our throats every now and then, just so we consume them. But more importantly, people must know that God, in His own wisdom, when He created food, it has almost all the key elements that will make us grow strong and healthy. So we need to reduce our sugar intake as much as we can, and then go for our natural food and vegetables. That way we'll be able to reduce to that extent. Now, after people have gotten the disease, what are the measures? The point is that we are calling on government, because currently diabetes, you wouldn't get diabetes treatment without paying out of pocket. People living with diabetes have to struggle at the hospital by paying for treatment at the hospital, and we are calling on government to, as much as possible, make a diabetes treatment as part of the National Health Insurance Benefit Package, so at least people living with diabetes can have some respite when they go to the hospitals. And it's not cheap too, it's quite expensive. And once people get diabetes, it is like in Ghana specifically, it's like a death sentence, because you have to struggle, get money, and then almost every time you have to go for medication at their hospital. And when you go, it's not free, you have to pay for it. And this is actually also increasing the burden of people already. Ghanaians are struggling, to spend for themselves and their family. Even a rich man alone is not able to go through the continuum of care and management when it comes to diabetes. So we think that the onus lies on duty bearers, our policymakers, the government, to ensure that people living with diabetes, which I said, if you're able to control diabetes, we'll be able to control many of the disease conditions that we are having, because once somebody gets diabetes, the likelihood of getting many complications, like heart disease, as I mentioned earlier, disease of the eye, and we also have, food problems, some chronic diseases of almost every part of the human body, is also being affected. Having said that, diabetes also, is also gotten from childhood. People are born and they are born, diabetic, and that sometimes we have little knowledge about what actually, causes it.
It's causing
it's more of genetics, right? So if you have a parent, a family member, and that person has diabetes, I want to urge, everyone to know that then the possibility of you getting diabetes is also very high.
All right.
We need to consciously and continuously strain.
Okay.
Go to the hospital and then be screening and then know your diabetes level. Once you know it, then you know how to manage it. Otherwise, people just die all of a sudden because they don't know their diabetes status.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing us those education. Labra Musa is the national coordinator of the Non-Communicable Disease Alliance, and we have been having a conversation on the prevalence of diabetes and what you and I can do to stay safe. Talking about health, though, one more MPOS case has been recorded in the Greater Accra region, bringing the total number of cases in recent weeks to 3. The Deputy Director of Public Health in charge of disease surveillance at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Dennis Lai, tells 3FM that the identified contacts are currently being monitored.
We had the outbreak in Western North. I think it's been contained. There was one case confirmed in the Greater Accra region. The region has done their investigations. So far, we haven't identified any new case, even amongst the contacts, but we're still following them up to determine if anybody develops symptoms. The case was confirmed last week. It's actually mild. The person is quite very well.
Deputy Director of Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Dennis Lai, updating us on that. Let's talk education, because the Ministry of Education has commenced investigations into claims by North Tong MP Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa that approximately 22,000 bags of expired rice were repackaged and supplied to senior high schools across the country. The lawmaker claims the rice, which expired in December 2023, was placed in locally produced sacks labeled ECOWAS and made in Ghana rice, but with no expiry date. In a statement, the ministry said it is working closely with the National Food Buffer Stock Company, NAFCO, and the Ghana Commodity Exchange, the entities responsible for food supplies to senior high schools across the country. Will be engaging the spokesperson for the Ministry of Education on what their investigations have been so far and the findings behind this. If you just tuned in, this is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. We're also live across all our social media platforms. You can join us on Facebook at 3FM 927 and 3 News at 3FM 927. Stay with us. We're back shortly. Welcome back. This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's do other stories and take you to the Upper West region, where the state of road networks in that region presents considerable challenges, particularly in the aftermath of devastating floods that wreaked havoc across the region in 2021, destroying major roads and bridges and leaving more than 1,605 residents significantly impacted. The Upper West Regional Branch of the Ghana Highways Authority has expressed concerns regarding the region's over-dependency on a single source of stone crush and quarry, saying the situation is taking a toll on its ability to deliver critical road construction in the region efficiently. Let's listen to Engineer Solomon Ajay, and then we can connect with our man in the region, Ibrahim Wangara.
The total road network in Upper West region is 1,076 kilometers. As I'm speaking, we have 151 kilometers of these roads being paved, representing 14%. And then we have 518 kilometers of this road being gravel roads. And then we have 400 kilometers of these roads also being under construction.
Let's now connect with our man in the region. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us. Talk to us a lot more about this road and how important it is and its situation currently in the area.
Yes, the road network in the Upper West region is not in good shape, I should say, and then more particularly areas within the Sisala enclave are the worst affected, and most of these areas the people there are predominantly farmers, and they are saying that as a result of the bad nature of the roads, their crops rot away in their farms, and the few that they manage to bring home, they are not able to also export or take them to the market where they could sell these items and then make enough money to cater for their families. Others are also lamenting the situation where it has to take a journey that will take you 15 minutes. You now have to endure 2 hours and counting before you can get to your destination. We can take a listen to the concerns of some road users in the area.
And when you look at the number of trucks, vehicles, even transporting our goods from farm to the house, there are a number of roads that have been linked to this place. It's a place popularly called Hasfopol. If you go there, there's no single truck that can pass there because that bridge has been falling and has been washed away. Just even a motorbike, you can't go. And promises upon promises upon promises on government.
Well, some residents there. Wanga, we have heard from the people. What more have you heard from the acting regional director of Ghana Highways Authority? What more do we know? What is the way forward in making sure the road gets back to its good state?
Yes, despite the challenges alluded to by the acting regional director and the concerns raised by the residents, the Ghana Highway Authority, in an effort to mark its 50 years in existence, acting regional director has been telling us some of the success stories or the achievements they have made so far, and currently the projects that are ongoing within their region. We can take a listen to him on that.
If you take a critical look at the Sicily East roads, it's very, very terrible. At least we have been seeing some work ongoing between Tumu and then Nahadokwi. But if you look at the stretch between JVC coming to Nandonwala, my brother, you can use more than 2 hours just moving from JVC to Nandonwala or to Hem.
Ibrahim, we have heard from him. Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on that. Ibrahim Wangaram, my colleague in the Upper West region, updating us on the situation on that critical road there. Let me take you to the Supreme Court because of its interpretation of the vacant seat case and the reactions that have come out from it. And this afternoon, there are concerns the Supreme Court's interpretation of Article 97(1)G and H will have little to no effect in resolving the current impasse in Parliament. That's after counsel for the Speaker, Thaddeus Sori, in a reaction to the written ruling, said there was no order against Speaker Alban Gbagbeng. The Supreme Court, in a 5-2 majority, upheld the argument of Alexander Agyemang that the 3 members of Parliament from his side did not vacate their seat after filing to contest the next election on the ticket of a new party. Again, the reasoning of the court is coming and the scrutiny starting with counsel for the Speaker. Let's walk you through what he's been saying in a Facebook page. And if you have joined us on Facebook, you can see that on our live stream. He says the plaintiff relief, therefore, did not pray the Supreme Court to declare the Speaker's response to the statement null and void. The plaintiff, however, did not formally, by way of any amendment to his case, formally bring the new facts to the court as part of the substantive case before the court. He continues by saying that after the Supreme Court has made a declaration in the exercise of its original jurisdiction, it is required under the provisions of Article 2, Clause 2 of the Constitution to make orders. And there's no order saying that the MPs must be allowed in Parliament or order directing that Parliament recognize the said MPs as earlier ordered by the court. And so by the court contained in the majority decision of the court, the order staying execution of the Speaker's ruling is now spent. That is the reaction coming from the man who has been representing the Speaker of Parliament in court, Thaddeus Sori, and he has been reacting to the reasoning of the courts behind the judgment as it was released yesterday. In fact, it is a 109-page reasoning. A lot of people have gone through it and they're already reacting to it, just as Thaddeus Sori has done. Let us also know what your comments are or how you feel about this reasoning from the Supreme Court, even as we continue and see how the case is going to pan out, especially as Parliament reconvenes subsequently. We'll let you know when the House is sitting again and how proceedings there is going to pan out. 23 days more to the election. Let us take you to the Election Command Center this afternoon, starting from the quarters of the CPP, and the Convention People's Party is pledging a 20,000 Ghana cedis cash payment to every citizen aged 18 and above if they win the December 7 elections. At the launch of the party's women-centered manifesto in Accra, flag bearer Nana Akosua Frimpong Sapon Kumankuma vowed to revive the Nkrumah-era factories, urging Ghanaians to break free from the NDC and NPP duopoly.
It's yes, Convention People's Party. Because we love people and we think about people, we are saying that we are going to build the industries. But each industry that is going to be built will be owned by some group of people who want to be part of that industry. Everybody is going to have an allocation of 20,000 Ghana cedis. That is what we need by Ghana Bashers. 20 million people from age 18 and up Even if you are 120, it won't matter. Whether you are blind, deaf, sick, can walk, can't walk, you have access. And because you have access, you would have owned the Commander Sugar Factory. With the 20,000, it means that about 30,000 Ghanaians would have had to put their money in the Commander Sugar Factory. Gentlemen, tell me how, you knowing that is your money is there, would you allow the sugar factory to have been there for 10 years?
Flag bearer of the CPP, Nana Akosua Frimpama Sapon Kumankuma there. Let's go to the NPP and its flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says the free senior high school program has ensured the provision of quality education in the country. He was addressing party faithfuls at Bantama constituency in the Ashanti region.
Yenkwada Bako 5.7 million across senior high school free. Ankayetie Oman Dada Ankayentiminya Ocha nursing training allowance mo. Yakase Yadi Baba Bium Osi Yentiminya Yakase it is possible. Yeah. You try teacher training allowance. Yes, you the baby you bium. Or see it to me, yes, it is possible. Yeah. Choboy. Yes, you the free technical and vocational education ever. Almost see it to me, yeah, can say it is possible. Yeah. And then we share Africa, the whole of Africa. We share quality of education. 54 countries in Africa. Ghana is number 2 in the whole of Africa. Number 2, the second highest quality of education in Africa.
Presidential candidates of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. Let's go to the NDC and its vice presidential candidates, Professor Nana Agyeman Agyemang, and other party leaders have expressed disappointment at the level of underdevelopment in the home region of the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. On the last day of campaign in the region, the team asked the people to vote massively for the NDC to bring them development. My colleague Evelyn Tingma is with the team and joins us. Evelyn, so we know that Professor Nana Jane ended her campaign tour in the Northeast region yesterday. What more do we know? Where is she now?
Prof and the team are beginning their Savannah regional campaign tour today, and it is for 2 days. That's today and tomorrow. And of course, we know that the Savannah region is one of the strongholds of the NDC, but the party says it is not leaving anything to chance, because in the 2020 elections, out of the 7 seats or the 7 constituencies that we have in the region, the NDC had 4 seats and the NPP 3. And so the party is not leaving anything to chance. Of course, they are promising that they want to take all the seats in this particular region. And so they are out here to canvass for more votes for their flag bearer and for all the various parliamentary candidates. And of course, talking about the Northeast campaign tour, I must say it was well attended, because even the former chairman of the party, Samuel Opotu Ampofo, was happy about the turnout. And he says that even though the region is the home region of the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, they were able to get more support and people coming out to support them. And so for him, they see a change coming from that region. And so they are thinking of, or they are hoping to get more votes in terms of the presidential and get more seats from the Northeast region. So the team actually was happy about the turnout from the Northeast region. And so they are in the Savannah region to galvanize more support, to win more votes for the party in the December elections.
All right, Evelyn, thank you for those updates. That will be all for our package for you this afternoon. It came to you from our studios here at Esawe Kanda Accra. My name is Hammoah Agyemang. Thank you for joining us. Michael Ogbodu stands by to bring you the latest in the world of business. Good afternoon.
Three FM. Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927, Facebook at 3FM927, and also on 3news.com.
And hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Michael Ogbodu. Coming up, Bank of Ghana confident in meeting 2024 inflation targets despite current economic challenges. And later, Ghana's policy rate unlikely to drop in next meeting largely due to inflation. We'll hear from Chief Executive of Daylex Finance, Joe Jackson.
We're not expecting rates to go down, and that's because of the inflation.
And still in the bulletin, Ghana set to have mortality table by first quarter of 2025 to aid insurance pricing.
Completion is now around 80%, and we are hoping to launch it in the first quarter of 2025.
Details coming up shortly. Please stay. Well, thank you so much for your time, and straight into our top story. And the Bank of Ghana has expressed optimism about reaching its inflation target for the year, despite current levels of raising concerns. The central bank had projected inflation to close the year at around 15 plus or minus a margin, yet October's rate stands at 22.1%. Speaking at the 20th anniversary of the Central Securities Depository, First Deputy Governor Maxwell Poku-Afari acknowledged the challenges but stated that inflation is expected to ease, potentially ending the year at around 17%.
The Governor has answered this question already at the last MPC that we were targeting. It's a band, 15 plus or minus 2. And he said that based on the challenges we've seen, he expects, because the 15 is a central point, then can go plus 2 up, plus 2 down. He expects us to be on the upper side of the plus 2 to reflect the elevation that we saw. And I think that's where we think we'll be heading to.
So that was First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Maxwell Poku-Afari there. Meanwhile, Chief Executive of Daylex Finance, Joe Jackson, has predicted that Ghana's policy rate will not likely drop at the 121st Monetary Policy Committee MPC meeting due to the country's persistently high inflation rate. The Monetary Policy Committee in its 120th meeting dropped the policy rate to 27% from 29% since beginning of 2024. The next MPC meeting is scheduled for November 25, 2024.
First of all, any further reduction will not happen. What will most probably happen is there will be a hedge to say, let's hold and see what happens. Remember, the food inflation is rising in September. Now, that should scare you and I, because September is one of the periods where the harvest has happened, things should be much cheaper. If food inflation is happening in September, what will happen in February? So we are not expecting that they will reduce they haven't tamed the beast yet. As for the MPC, we're not expecting rates to go down, and that's because of the inflation.
So that was Chief Executive of Daylex Finance, Joe Jackson, speaking there. Away from that, Acting Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission, Michael Kofi Ando, has hinted that Ghana's mortality table, currently in development, is expected to be ready by the first quarter of 2025. This table will provide essential data on the probability of death for each age group, showing the likelihood that a person will pass away before their next birthday, a crucial information for determining life insurance premiums. At the 2024 Actuaries Connect conference in Accra, he emphasized that insurance companies in Ghana currently rely on mortality tables from advanced countries which have different demographic data.
Currently, Ghana doesn't have a Ghanaian mortality table. So some actuaries use the South African table, others use the European table, others use the North American tables. But you see, these are not Ghanaian. Their demographics are different from ours, and their people are different from ours. And so sometimes they make adjustments to some of these tables and they apply them to Ghana. But adjustment may not be as appropriate as it should be. For example, the HIV prevalence rate is not very high in Ghana, but some of them may make undue adjustment, increasing that rate so much for us. And so it is really important that we do have our own mortality table, which will speak to our unique and specific circumstances so that product can be appropriately priced and it will be for the Ghanaian population.
He also stressed the importance of actuaries in the life insurance industry, encouraging companies to prioritize the engagement of actuarial expertise.
I can't see how we can develop our industry, improve its efficiency and profitability without the input of the actuaries. It is not possible to do that. We need the actuaries to be able to do that. You can see the companies that have senior actuaries in their teams. You can see from their financial statement, from their bottom line, the effect. And you can tell clearly straight away that these are people that we need, especially in the life insurance industry. And so that is why the NIC has been so keen on collaborating with the Actuarial Society of Ghana and to encourage all the companies to have good qualified actuaries on their teams so that we can experience the kind of benefit that we see other life companies have on their bottom line and in their performance.
Michael Kofi Andor is acting commissioner of the National Insurance Commission, NIC. Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, is predicting a 3 to 5% drop in fuel prices at local pumps starting November 16. That's tomorrow, Saturday. This welcome relief comes despite the current petrol shortage affecting some outlets nationwide. According to Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Hammoah, the supply of petrol is expected to improve within the next 48 hours, easing the pressure on fuel prices.
The only challenge here has to do with the financing bit, where some of the traders are clearly demanding that whatever debts owed them be offset or be paid. And then again, there's the backwardation where prices are rolling back. And so if you lock prices in at this time as a trader, you are likely to take a hit because prices continue to decline across the world. And that also makes trading quite difficult. But all said and done, we expect the situation to improve. For the coming window in the second window in November, prices at the pumps, from what we have gathered, the data available to us now, indicates that fuel prices could ease by between about 3 to 5% across board. But again, this would definitely be on condition that the cedi does not depreciate any further from where it is currently.
So that was Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, Duncan Hammoah, speaking there. Now, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications has revealed that telecom companies contributed more than 9.83 billion cedis in taxes and other payments in 2023. This represents about 30% increase compared to the 6 billion Ghana cedis paid in 2022. The contribution, according to the Chamber, forms approximately 7.38% of Ghana's 2023 total revenue. On that note, that'll be all for today's edition of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Urban Blend continues right after this with Black Kobe. Stay tuned.